3, 2, 1.
I always get it wrong. I never wait till the very I can't ever judge it with that music at the end. It always seems I always end it before it ends, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Welcome to Friday Night Files. If you're watching this on YouTube, it'll be on Dogman Teepee Hunting. And if you're listening to this, it will be on the Interdimensional Voyagers podcast. Phew. Right. You had a good week. I hope it's been eventful and great and fun, and thank goodness it's the weekend. Let's just say that. Yeah, because it's been, and what an end to the weekend with the rain. The rain and the storms. Honestly, I took the car today. I should have took the jet ski if I had a jet ski. That's what I should have done. Or dinghy. That'd be more my style, really. Oh, Hawaii 5-0 canoe, you know. But yeah, no, it's been quite good. Been quite eventful week. Pleased it's over. I know that much. I'm going to go straight into it, and I'm going to bring up Natalie, see if she's ready. I think she is. Hello, Natalie.
Hello. I'm never ready for anything. I'm always in a state of attempting to be prepared and still being constantly caught out.
Yeah. I know yeah, it's one of these things where it's just kind of like with everything I try just sort of goes a bit Pete Tong, really, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know
Some
why.
people, you know, I watch people and they all talk about this manifesting stuff, and like some people are like, oh, I was born to do something, and I just went ahead, and that was my focus, and I worked hard, and I did it. And it's like me, I just feel like the wheels keep falling off, and I keep duct taping everything back together, and then something else flies off. Like, was it the Laurel and Hardy car? It's just like, and then you just end up sitting there in the middle of the road with all four wheels on the floor, and you're just looking around thinking, why am I going nowhere? I'm attempting to.
Yeah,
I've done all these things. I have a vehicle. Why is my manifesting a bit screwy?
I know. I get exactly what you mean. I get exactly what you mean. It's like kind of it's I I remember one of my first car I ever had was a Morris Marina,
Oh,
and
I.
yeah, and that was back in the day where you lifted up the bonnet and you could actually see roads either side of the engine. You could see the road. You know,
Yeah.
it had gaps in the engine compartment, but now it's just all packed out. But yeah, I had a footwell where it's so rotten and so rusty, you could actually see the road through the footwell, you know, where the pedals are.
It's like bordering on the Flintstones.
Yeah,
Like running.
bordering on the Flintstones. Yeah, but I know exactly what you mean. It's like, you know, and I see other people and they seem to fly through life as if, you know, everything's so smooth and they've got like this perfect existence. And I mean, take for instance today. It's only a little thing, but it's a big thing in my book. Got to work. I was there for 6 in the morning, all dark. Yeah, and uh, I'm waiting for a new pair of work boots. Anyway, so I had my own shoes on, which are not sort of uh, they're okay, but they're only like safety trainers, if you like, you know.
Mm.
So they don't go up the foot very far, you know. They don't cover my heel, you know, my ankle. That's it. They don't cover
Yeah.
my ankle very well. And there was a guy who works in another unit. Doesn't work with us, but he works in another unit. He turned up in his car, came straight out, opened up the car door, came straight out, straight into his unit. Hello, Phil. You all right, mate? I come out. The moment I put my foot down, it's in a really deep puddle.
Puddle.
So this
Sounds about right. Yeah, I can go with that one.
so I had the water went above the shoe level, so it filled my shoe up. Yeah, and
Oh
it was
dear.
just at that moment he looked, you know, "Hello, Phil, you all right? Have a good." "Oh dear, you're not having a good day." So like, no,
Can't even
no,
get out of the car. I did that
yeah,
last year in the winter. It rained and then it froze, and I nipped to Tesco, but hadn't realised that it had just dropped below freezing. And I must have parked next to like the one puddle on the car park. Opened my door, put my foot down, slid out, and I was there hanging on with my feet sort of like sliding underneath me for dear life. And there was like 3 cars around me, and they were all staring at me like, "Why is she having trouble standing up?" It's just like, oh, I need to go home right now.
this is
But
how I
yeah, like you
always
said,
get out of the car.
the one bit of the car park with a bit of moisture underneath it, just where my door was. And I was just like, you can't make it up, can you?
No, I said,
Can't make it up.
did you try and like whenever I get incidents like that, I always try and act as if I meant to do it.
I just sort of follow the attempt is keep calm and carry on, and it's just like, oh, you know, it's like your brain starts spiraling, but I'm like, let's put positive spin on this. You didn't land on your backside, you managed to keep your feet, you look like an absolute tip, but hey ho, it could have been, you know, instead of just getting out of your car and straight underneath.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, you know, but yeah, it's like, and then you sort of like try and look round without looking round. It's like, yeah, I've dipped it. See you
Yeah.
later. But yeah,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
I mean, you know, there's a bit of paranormality there because do you think that it's hereditary? You know, this sort of thing. I'll tell you
What
why.
clumsiness.
Your clumsiness, yeah. Because I remember years ago. I'll tell you a real quick story, but this is absolute. I swear to you, this is the truth. I was around about, oh, I don't know, it must have been about 11, and I went with where we used to live in Greenford, which is in Middlesex, on the outskirts of London. And there used to be a Unigate Dairy and around the corner from us, you know. So and they turned it, they closed the dairy where it used to have floats coming in the morning. It was lovely, you know, floats coming in the morning, loading up. You could hear the rattling of the bottles going in the morning and stuff like that. They closed it and they turned it into a greengrocers. Anyway, I went in and this is why I think it's hereditary. I went in with mum because Mum said, "Oh, I tell you what, Phil, I could do with some cabbages. I'm going to get some of them lovely leeks, make some lovely pea and leek and pea soup or something." She wasn't a very good cook, like butterflies. That lady out there, she was just like that. She was awful cook. If there was like a Esther Ranson to help telephone line for me at the time, I would have been onto it. Saved me. She was trying to poison me again. Anyway, so we went into this greengrocer's, and I was by her side. I was walking along. All of a sudden, she went vroom, left me, and went vroom straight all the way down to the counter, hit the counter, and then landed on the floor. And I was like, "What on? How did she do that? It's incredible!" What she ended up doing was there was a rogue strawberry on the floor.
Oh, strawberries, yeah.
Yeah, and she managed to get her heel directly on the strawberry. She went down, she was on one leg, right? She was on one leg sliding, and all the people in the queue, all the women were like kind of looking at her, looking at her jumping in the queue, jumping ahead, look, yeah, where she lives, 57 around the corner, yeah, she's always like, and she was
She's just like,
on one leg. I got to her at the counter, and all she turned around, she said to me, "Oh, Phil, pull my skirt down, would you?"
oh.
And I've inherited that clumsiness. If it's just something which it's just some people have got, and I think you got it as well.
I don't know if I'm. Because somebody asked me that, because apparently that is called dyspraxia, isn't it? The lack of coordination. But
Yeah.
I've got quite good coordination, but life seems to like pratfalling me. So it's like, so even if I'm sort of being really careful and balanced and all this, the other, that somebody will, I see on cartoons where someone throws a banana into you, the banana skin into your pathway. It's almost like life just goes, she's doing really well at the moment. Let's do something to her. It's like, because I've had the strawberry incident in a supermarket at the checkout. Yeah. I went to the checkout with my mum, went to pick up my shopping, turned around, straight out from under me, and the person in front of me had a punnet of strawberries, and some of the strawberry had leaked onto the floor. Just happened to be where I stood, and I straight down. Like, so yeah, no, that's why I said strawberries. You want to watch them. It's not the banana skins, it's the blooming strawberries. But no, I don't know, because it annoys me, because I can stand near something and it will fall off, and I'm not even touching it. So I don't class that as clumsiness. I'm not sure what that is, unless my energy feels clumsy. I don't know. But yeah, but I can literally be standing nearby something and it will fall off, and I'm like a foot away. So, and then people go, "Oh, you're so clumsy, you've just knocked that mug off." And I was just like, well, I don't know how. I've knocked it off with the powers of my mind.
It's the crap factor, isn't it? I think it's partly the crap factor. I remember another another time which was quite funny, where there was I was in a supermarket many years ago, and this happened, and there was a guy who was over by the cereal boxes. Anyway, and he just happened to grab one of the cereal boxes, and he found that it had been opened. Someone had probably someone had gone along, opened it, and grabbed a handful, and he was like, "Oh!" And I was watching, and he went, "Oh dear!" So he couldn't find any ones which were full, which weren't opened. It was the last one.
All right.
Yeah. So I then went over and I said, "Oh no," because I was a little distance from him. I was like on the other side of the aisle, and I said, "Oh no, there's one up on top of the shelf, hasn't been put out yet. It's right on top of the shelf over there. Look, right at the top. It hasn't been put out. It's just in a cardboard box, but I can see it's the one you want. Look, there it is." And he went, "Oh, cheers." "Cheers, thanks, mate. I appreciate that." He said, "Yeah, I'll get that." Yeah. I said, "Look, there's a little one of those little stools, that you can pull over, and then when you step on it, it's meant to lower and hit
those
the ground."
safety ones, aren't they? Like safety stool things. Yeah, I know what you mean.
this was a few years ago, remember, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I said, "Oh, there's a stall over there." So I was giving him all these directions, and I felt so bad over it. And then I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh, yeah, I did." I said, "You want to pull that over and step on that and do that?" Anyway, there was some. He moved the guard. There was a guard by it, so it must have been cleaning up. I thought cleaning up some. Just a plastic guard cleaning up some mess on the floor, or someone had dropped a bottle or something like that. And he pulled that away, pulled it across, stood on it. He reached up as he stood on it. The stool he was on just went completely. As it did, he then grabbed hold of the box. He wasn't letting go of it, and he was sort of moving, and he pulled hold of the shelf down. Now, the thing is they put the guard around the stall because it wasn't that something had dropped. It was
Yeah, it was a
because the stall
stool.
was broken. And I said to him to use it. When I saw him do this amazing act, because it was a fabulous bit of marvelous display. When I saw him do it, I couldn't. I'm one of these characters. If I see someone trip or fall, I will come out just automatically. I'm just like, glad that wasn't me. I
Did he
started laughing.
Did that get you in trouble?
Yeah,
Can you believe that got you in trouble?
yeah, really did. Giving in orders, and then that was awful. Yeah, it wasn't good. I've got Ready Steady Retro. Hello, how you doing, Pauline? I was walking through a graveyard at night with 3 other friends, but I managed to fall down a fresh grave.
Oh, no.
None of us saw. It's always me. See, that would be so funny.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the kind of thing that I would end up doing, like turn around and go, "What's that over there?" I've had it, with the supermarkets as well. Talking about things like that is like the automatic gate things, the magnetic gates that on the way in, and they're supposed to open for you, and they don't open for me. There's a number of times I've walked into them because I've expected them to open. So now I'll stand there like an idiot waiting for the 2 or 3 seconds just in case it doesn't open before I walk through it now, because I've had them shut on me as well as I've been in the middle of going through them.
Yeah.
But but the grave one, I think that tops everything.
The grave
Definitely
one, brilliant.
impressive.
That was very, very impressive. Yeah,
Yes, I'm surprised I've not done something like that actually. I've not been on enough ghost hunts and things, I think, to actually do that, but that would so be me.
Yeah, it was. That was. I was a teenager, Roxy, just bruises, but I had a felt panic attack because it was over another friends laughing too hard to help.
That's the worst thing as well.
Yeah, bless her. It's like the supermarkets now. You've got those glass. So you buy something, right? And then especially with Smart Shop. Ha ha ha! Smart Shop. What a waste of time. Don't use Smart Shop. Yeah. It's not Smart Shop, not at all. Because what it is, when you get to the end and then you scan the QR code, 9 times out of 10 it will say, "Oh, your shopping needs checking."
Yeah.
Wait. So all the time that you save by doing a Smart Shop, by scanning it all yourself, is wasted because you've got to wait for someone to come, and then they've got to randomly pick, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 items, whatever it is, out of your trolley to see if you'd already scanned them. So you're not kind of.
It's like the self-scan checkouts. I always end up having to wait for someone to come and key code it in, and I'm like, I should have just gone to a checkout with a person on it, but damn sight quicker, because it doesn't go wrong when I go to checkout. It's only when I self-scan. But you know what smart means anyway? Stupid machines are ruining things. Is there anything with a smart, like my smart meter that can't upload the electric read, and I still have to do it manually? It's like, like smart scan, smart meter, smart anything with smart in front of it. Stupid machines ruining things.
Yeah, we haven't really advanced very much. Not really. We're going backwards, I think. Because when you get receipts,
more ways to get irritated, isn't it?
Well, it is. It really is. It's like it's like now. I'm not going to go. This is a program about sort of paranormal stuff, but it's annoying. It is annoying. Like now, to park anywhere. One, you get a finite time. yeah, which puts you under stress.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
someone
that's
like me puts
true.
me under stress because I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, right, you get 2
deadline.
hours, I've got to do everything in 2 hours. Right, will I get back in 2 hours? I don't know. And then paying, oh my god! And there's so many. If it was one universal app,
Yes.
maybe Ringo or Parker,
Yeah, the
just one.
same way of doing things every single time.
Yeah,
I've had a panic attack in a car park because I couldn't figure out the payment machine thing. And then it turns out it was broken anyway. And I needed to go to the other one, and that's why it wasn't working. But I was literally standing there hyperventilating. I was like, I need to go home. I need to get out of this car park.
Yeah.
It won't let me leave. It won't accept my coins. It won't accept anything. What do I do?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Yeah. It just it's a absolute awful. Right, let's see who we've got in the chat. Let's have a look, Natalie. We have got Roxy. Hello, thank you for doing the admin. Delroy. Hello, Delroy. We've got Andy Penn. Hello, Andy. Glad you could make it. Dawn, Sasquatch sister. Hello there. Thank you very much for moderating. Dragonborn. Hello. Thank you very much for joining. Appreciate it. Good to see you again. Ready steady retro. I'm sorry, I did say hello earlier, but hi, thank you for joining. Very much appreciated. Oh, Larry. Hello, Larry. Larry Luttrell. Happy Friday, all. Oh, bless him. Thank you. Yep. Happy Friday to you as well, Larry. Yeah. Right. Okay. Any questions? Put them up. Roxy will highlight them and then bring them. We'll give enough time at the end to bring all the questions up. If you've got any questions for us two or whatever, but or I'll try and answer them like Natalie will. We'll try our very best. Right, Natalie, what we're gonna was what I was thinking of talking about. What I'd like to talk about is one. You often find in churches a figurehead. It's normally just the head of a green man, and it will be covered in leaves and a folate of leaves coming out of its mouth, sometimes ears. And it got me wondering. I've seen these quite a few times, especially around Suffolk, Norfolk area. I thought, I wonder what the background was a little bit on it. And I've done some digging around. Evidently, green men do not appear in England until the 12th century. But they've got a long history elsewhere. Very, very strange. During the 1st century AD, decorative artists in Imperial Rome developed a playful tradition in which little people were seen hiding among leaves, turning into leaves or actually being formed from them. Folate heads, that basically means where they've got the foliage coming out and leaves and stuff all over. Of this kind were produced as ornaments on temple friezes and capitals throughout the Roman Empire, from Turkey to the Rhine in Germany. Both folate and sprouting heads also appear in Indian art from the 8th century, long before they became common in Europe.
Oh, I didn't know that bit. Yeah, I didn't know that one. I thought it was a medieval European thing. Oh,
No,
okay.
no.
That's interesting.
The first European example of these sprouting heads appears on the tomb of St. Abra. You spell Abra Abre. St. Abra, near the city of Poitiers in France. Poitiers in France. Later on, the same area of France saw the development of green man carvings in Gothic style. Right. So what now they're not I'm not confusing these with Woodwose or wild men, because with these folate heads that we see very often in churches, they are just the head. You'll never see a body. You'll only see the head, only ever see the head, and they're not necessarily always nice to look at. You get some sort of
Yeah, they're
demonic.
quite. Yeah, they're
Yeah,
quite sinister. Some of them are. They're not actually sort of playful, are they? A lot of them.
no, they're not. Some of them are really quite, not very nice at all. A lot of people believe that they are the. See, it's strange. It's a more of a pagan um, tradition to have these, and the carvers, the people that the people that used to carve these out were a very small select group. Very often,
Okay.
a very small select group, which would be called in to carve these heads. And when I was digging around for information on them, I was talking to a couple of people about these who were academics, and I said, "Well, what do
Mhm.
you think? Why do you think they were carved in Christian churches? And more so, the point, why do you think the Christian churches allowed these pagan deities, if you like, these
Because
pagan?"
they're quite common, aren't they? In it is mainly churches and cathedrals, as far as I know, that have
Yes,
them, and they're usually under like altars or hidden away in little corners. And
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And it was because the Celts, years ago, the Celts had these deities that lived in the forest and that were related to seasons and were related to the old world and the old gods. And then when the Romans came, they banished all the old gods. They banished all the pagan deities. They said, no, no, no. And it went over to Christendom. And the beginning of Christendom. Uh, so a lot of churches had these, I was being told, because it was a way of, um, if you like, saying to the congregation who were still of the old world but
Mm.
new to Christianity, they used to go to churches, but it was like a way of saying, well, look, okay, you've got these, we will have these. It's appeasing them. It's kind of like welcoming them in with
With
something they
sinister
recognize.
faces.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
With
But
welcome
sinister faces
to
they
church.
recognize.
Sinister men
Mm.
staring at you from the leaves.
I mean, the green men do not normally have horns. Okay,
No,
some of
that's true. No, they don't tend to, do they?
So they're not they stand very much on their own. They're not related to Pan or Cernunnos or
Mm.
any of those deities. But in the Middle Ages, they were not always shown as being nice. They were often shown, like we said, of being devils or devilish face. Um, a face glimpsed among the leaves might be a robber or um because what it was years ago, when people used to travel through the woods and stuff, there would be an awful lot of robberies and uh men, let's say, taking advantage of women, in forests and forest paths. So these were depicted also. So life was very much, it was basically a comic book. These if you like, it was a graphical representation of the time that they lived in at the then. That's what a lot of the art and architecture, that's what it reflects. So even with churches, it still reflects the time and the surroundings that they lived in. um so and I was hoping, to be honest with you, I was hoping to find a correlation between them, the Green Man and Woodwoses,
Hmm.
um, because growing up with Niblet's corn, served at the table, with the ho 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 Green Giant,
Oh
I
yeah,
remember
the
that.
green giant on the sweet corn.
Do you remember that?
Yeah, because he had the wreath, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
ho ho
Oh,
ho Green Giant.
I never thought of that. Whether that was a mythic
Yeah.
symbol or not.
Yeah, so that has its heritage in
Okay.
it, once again, in the Green Man, being that it's green, abundancy, spring, flourishment, and it's a good color. It's a nice color. It's it goes back to Egyptian times of as Osiris was meant to have had a green skin.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of a good color. It's an abundant color, back in the day. Because once again, it's seasons. Wintertime, everything sort of drops off and falls down and goes brown. So it's one of those things. But so that's a brief one on the Green Man. It has got. I've had a good long dig around. If anyone can find anything, any correlation between them and Woodwoses, let me know, please, because I couldn't find anything connecting the two.
I have to admit, yeah, because I had did a search because I don't know what a Woodwose is, so I had to look it up. And I was just like, they're completely different, aren't they? Because, like you say, with the Woodwoses, especially when they're depicted in art, they tend to be an entire figure, whereas, like say, a Green Man is literally just a face, and it seems to be a particular kind of leaf very often. Is it is it a canthus leaf? I don't even know what it is. There's a particular kind of leaf it tends to be associated with as well, so it's sort of like it's odd. And
yeah, with fillet heads, they normally the type of foliage they have. Hawthorn is very popular.
okay.
Hawthorn, they use an awful lot. Because of its sweet blossoms. It's a kind of like even in winter time. But hawthorn is a very green leaves were a delight. Learned clerks wrote ominously about them, signifying sins of the flesh, evidently. And preachers warned against the temptations of springtime, but not everyone listened. In May, people carried home branches of hawthorns with its sweet blossoms. Young couples strolled in the woods with their heads crowned with garlands of ivy as well. Green men shared this symbolism. And in a set of carvings in Western Longville in Norfolk, most of these are in Norfolk and Suffolk, depicting green men. They're very prominent, very, very prominent of their time. I tried doing some digging around for the architects to find out what gang they were, because they were used by quite a few commissions when a church was done. They would use the same architect, not architects, they were sculptors. Is that right? Sculptors?
Sculptors.
What'd you
Sculptors.
say?
Sculptors.
Sculptors. I know, I didn't know. Sometimes, see, that's another.
Weird so many times it starts sounding weird anyway. It's like, I think it's a sculptor.
I know, I got no idea. No idea. So yeah, I'll go with that. It's better than my one.
A carver person, a rock carver.
A carver, yeah, a stone carver person. A stone carver person. So
Sorry, that was me saying I got my ears in, and I was like, "Oh, my noise is all right." Now we can't figure out the word for a stonemason.
If you just tuned in and you're thinking that you're going to be listening to a couple of intellects here, then no, totally wrong.
You were telling me about being highly intelligent.
Yeah, people talking about the crap factor. Yes, yeah, totally right. Yeah, that's right. Now I've interviewed going to Woodwoses. I've kept it as English as possible because Woodwose is very English, and
I'd literally know almost nothing about Woodwoses, so this is an education.
Yeah. So what it is, I've done a couple of clips. One is when I went to a church in Suffolk, and I found this. You've got this.
Mm-hmm.
Now, to me, that looks like a hairy man with a club and a form of a shield, but that definitely looks like a hairy man. Well, what would be called in the old days a Woodwose. Maybe nowadays we would call a Bigfoot or Sasquatch. That is on this church. And on the other side, get this. On the other side carving, we have what looks essentially like a dragon. But not quite the St. George and the dragon that you'd normally see. That looks more a mythical, not a symbolic dragon. To me, then you've got this. Right. And right, let's turn that off. That was a church that I found in Suffolk. And once again, it's got this strange carving, which you would never normally associate with Christian church. You'd be like, why is that? Now, there was another one I saw in a church in Bungay where there's the black hellhound went rampaging through one stormy night, went raging through the down the aisle of Bungay Church and injuring people.
Wow.
On its way. Oh yeah, but and it then left there and went to Blythburgh Church. And done the same thing. And there's supposedly scratch marks on the church door at Blythburgh as well. Because I went to both to have a little look.
Yeah.
But I found that the Bungay Church also some more. Let's get that up. Boop, boop, boop. Let's have a look, see if I can't get the one. Some more very strange. Where is it? Aha, there you go. Here we go, guys. Oh, this is Saxmundham. This one is. Look at this. Okay. See, got the club.
And there's another one of them on the other side.
You know, and that's on the font.
Yeah, it's the fonts do. There was a Norman church. I was doing a craft fair years ago at Tissington, and they got a Norman. I think it was a Norman church just behind the hall, and it is odd that they're carved on the fonts, aren't they, with the water in? Because I'm sure I found a couple of green men and somewhat pagan things in there, because I found it quite interesting at the time. Why a church would have pagan symbology in it and not in it's actually part and parcel of the sculptures, rather than actually going, this is evil and it's down at the bottom. It's sort of very much in with everything else. So it's not even segregated away, saying, oh, this is sinful stuff and down here and this stuff's up here. But why would you put it on the font, which is like the center of you holy water and everything? And unless it does symbolize the waters above the things underneath it, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. It's still hear me.
Yeah. I can hear you.
Right,
Yeah. You glitched out for a second, but oh no, I'm on my own now. I can't carry the interview on my own. Don't know where Phil's gone, but I did find it quite interesting, just to carry on waffling while Phil reappears, is that the Woodwoses are very different to the Green Man, and the Green Men are all there's 3 different types apparently. There's one that's actually like a leaf with a face in it, then there's the ones with the leaves coming out of their mouth, and then another one with leaves coming out of the nose and mouth, the eyes and the ears as well. And then the Woodwoses seem to always be figures, usually with a club and a shield, but they're always covered in hair from head to toe. And it's quite clear as well that it's hair rather than leaves. So I'm not quite sure what the distinction is in terms of. They were a very odd mix of symbols back in those times, to be honest. It's makes you wonder how much of it was like a little bit of rebellion as well from the people that were making the churches, that were being forced to carve the churches, and were like, well, you know what, if we're going to have to adopt this new religion, we might as well just throw in a few symbols of our past here, and they hope that nobody notices. And then they could come up with all these reasons why, oh no, we've put it underneath there, and it shows that, you know, the angels are above.
I'm back on. I'm back on.
Yes, thank goodness for that.
Right, yeah, I don't know what happened there. Fonts are really sorry about that. Like I say, I'll tell you what. Like, look, I'm not the look. I'll show you. I will flipping show you what problems we're having at the moment, and it is having a lot of problems with solar flares and people telling me just lately about headaches. It's having impact on people at the moment.
I always say the space where the coronal mass ejections, nearly always with the aurora, migraines, headaches, skin tingling, weird sensations of crawling on your skin, static. It's nearly always a coronal mass ejection, and we've just had one. Quite a big one, which is why, so whenever, because I usually get a migraine about a day before a coronal mass ejection from the sun hits the earth, but it's usually everyone goes, oh, look at the aurora, and I'm like, God, I've got a headache. I feel like I'm being pulled sideways as well, which is always
You're another one.
I'm really sensitive to it. This year's been a nightmare. I've had nothing but migraines all year, and it's always correlated with coronal mass ejections more than solar flares. The solar flares seem to interfere with the tech, but the coronal mass ejection seems to interfere with my brain. If it's a moderate one, the mild ones I can sometimes get away with, but moderate ones definitely. But
I hear it's got. This is on X by Hustlebit. Hustle. Well, Hustle. BITCH. Hustle bitch. Basically, that's the name of the poster. Something just slammed Earth's magnetic field. It's off the charts. The auroral ring has exploded outward and pushed way farther south than normal, a sign the entire upper atmosphere is getting blasted with charged particles. People all over are reporting ear ringing, sudden exhaustion, head pressure, flashes of dizziness, restless energy, vivid dreams. I get dreams a lot. Anxiety spikes, and that strange floaty feeling that always shows up when the magnetic fields get stressed. Do you get a floaty feeling?
I feel like I'm falling. Sometimes, most of the time, I'll either feel like a trapdoor's open underneath me and I'm falling, or I'm being pulled to one side. And the other day I felt like my brain was being pushed up to the top of my skull, but it's usually downwards. But yeah, or you'll be standing there and you'll suddenly feel like you're going sideways like that. It's like, it took me a while to figure out what the problem was, because everyone's like, oh, you're getting older. But then when I started looking at the space weather, like I say, it always correlated. And like you say, the tinnitus, and people always get ill usually when there's high electromagnetic fluctuations like this. So when everyone goes on about like cold season, that's usually fluctuations, I find, because I can usually predict when everyone's going to get ill because I'm looking at the space weather.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh yeah, there's something weird. Everyone's going to get colds and flus now. And on the dot, you know, but that's my personal conspiracy theory. But yeah, no, definitely the tinnitus as well has been terrible just lately. And it changes tone and sound. I mean, I've always got tinnitus anyway, but it changes, and you could hear it. And sometimes it switches on and off. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but yeah, the sound will intensify.
I've got tinnitus in one ear, just in this ear. Yeah, you know, usually on that ear. But that's like happened relatively recently. I get dreams but also I have noticed for a little while now that sightings of Dogman and the feeling. I normally, whenever I go out, if I go to places, like I've been to Cannock Chase this year a couple of times, and I always get a feeling if there's like kind of a Dogman about, I get an inbuilt kind of, I just know.
Yeah.
Haven't had that this year. Haven't
Oh,
had that.
really?
No, haven't had that this year. No, very, very odd. Just
Curious.
devoid of anything like that this year.
Because I'm just thinking, it's like, because my allotment is it's up on the edge of some woods, and those woods are normally okay, but this year they've been feeling quite sinister. So I've not actually gone
Sinister,
walking in
yes.
them. Yeah, a sinister feeling, more than anything, like you say, a sense of like dread or something's like, well, sinister, I think is the best word for it. Like, I don't want to go in there. And
Yeah.
they're only friendly woods. Everyone dog walks in them and everything. They're not like massive woods or anything. But for some reason, like when I'm up the allotment, it's just sort of like, I'll go up there some days and I'll be like, I don't need to be here for very long. You know, I literally go up, do my jobs and go straight back home again, because it feels like the place wants me gone.
Yeah, that's the feeling I got as well. I didn't get now. That's not when I feel like with Dogman or with those entities. They're different. I get a different feeling. I don't get the sort of the dread or that some people get. They're the clans, if you like. I get sort of, they know me, they know of me, and I get that feeling, you know. But there's a dread out there. There is a dread, a sinister. That's the feeling I get out there. It's quite sinister, and I just wondered if it's something to do with the solar flares. I don't know. Could be.
I don't know if me and my friends have talked about it a few times. Like, you know how we say there seem to be like portals open, and then everybody sort of, you'll get waves of people or animals leaving. I don't know what words I'm allowed to use on YouTube now. And we always say the last few days there's been a portal open, because there's been a sense of danger. And it's like, usually I get that. I usually start getting paranoid about things like that when something like this happens. But I don't know if it doesn't correlate with the sun, and it sort of allows things to happen. You know, that extra energy sort of, you know, shakes us loose from our bodies somehow. And, you know, if you something's going to happen for you to leave, you tend to leave in people tend to leave in waves. I find that with animals. This last few days has been quite bad for losing animals and people not being well. So there is a sense of like ill omen almost.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. I agree. There is a and the people at home watching, if you get that sense as well, there is a sense of yeah, I agree with you. There is a sense of impending. I take it to be like when I have been out in the woods, there's something which is off. There's something which is not right, and it's intent. Its intent is not good.
Yeah, it feels deliberate almost. Like there's, because sometimes you go outside in bad weather, don't you? And you think, oh, this isn't good weather, but it's the weather. Whereas at the moment, it feels like there's an intent behind it. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, you know, that if you catch its attention, you're going to be in trouble. And it's like that. There is
like
that.
Keith Aston said the woods by me feel not good this last few days. Yeah, that's quite true.
Yeah. So it's not just us.
I do quite like also just quickly, sorry, Andy Penn, Green Man got him. No, I disappeared because of no, that's just wishful thinking, Andy. Wishful thinking that Green Man got me. No, I just like because my computer went, that's all. Yeah. Another one of my fans. Yeah, Green Man got him. Great. Never see him again.
They've come for him.
Did he? Yeah. Oh, hang on. Yeah, just quickly. The church and pagan gods did cross over. They did. Yes, they did. Yeah, they did very much so cross over. There was a crossover with the church and pagan.
Early Christianity wasn't what we know now as Christianity. So they were a lot more tolerant in a lot of places. very early Christianity was actually quite integrated. I think was it Celtic Christianity? It was a lot more integrated.
Yeah. No, it was. It was, if you like, because especially in more rural settings, it was a lot more, if you like, they were appeasing the locals, because the locals were Celts. The locals had this for years and years, passed on from ear to mouth constantly, their old gods. So of course, the Romans and the Christendom like started up, and they started a little chapel, and said, right, okay, we're gonna, this is the God, and this is the Bible, and this is what we're teaching, and they kind of, in a way, they appeased the locals a little bit by integrating, like you said. They integrated a little bit within the church itself.
Yeah, because it was the Roman influence that squashed a lot of that kind of thing and got more hardline. But I was reading something that they were doing it as more of a resources grab, because all the churches and things were very often near mines and on land that was profitable. Whereas like the early Christianity pre that era was a lot more tolerant and flexible. I sometimes wonder actually if we went back in time to see, and I say Celtic Christianity, if I remember rightly, I think they believed in reincarnation as well. And that got removed when it got overhauled by Rome as to what doctrines could and couldn't be taught. So it does make you wonder what versions we've lost over the years. Rambling on.
No, it does.
But the one about the churches they're seizing the land, the ones near mines and things, I found quite interesting, because it was like they were, in this particular book, they were saying it was more of a land and power and resource grab than anything else. So you usually find that the grounds of churches and monasteries and things used to be very resource rich. I think it was around the Saxons. My history is not that great, but I read too much and I get muddled up, especially when you're reading conflicting, alternative history.
Sometimes I think it happens to a lot of
messy.
people. Yeah, I think it happens to a lot of people because there's so much information out there, and it sort of, as soon as you open up your phone, as soon as you open up your PC onto social media, whatever, your persuasion is, whatever platform, it's just vomiting out this information, which is just information overload. It's very, very hard to take it all in. It's like you have to slow it down a bit, and that's why I sort of read a bit. Books I find easier to digest sometimes than I do.
Well, this was because the land grab thing I got off a book on Ireland. It was alternative history. And it was about like some of the Irish and was it Scotland were sources of very, very well known. This was before, like I say, before the church destroyed it all. Were very, very well known resource centres for learning and education and things. And so there's this alternative Irish history that's basically got squashed. So like I say, once you start reading the alternative history, and this was like a book that was based on research done in like the 60s and 70s, so sort of before there was too much bias and going on in the same degree that's happening now with a lot more censorship. But it was an interesting thing because they were saying about the crossover, that this culture happened before sort of like the floods, and the early Roman Church sort of went round exercising it because it was a counter source of information, and they wanted to destroy it so that these information and resources was no longer available for people that wanted to travel. And then they moved the source of all knowledge back out across the continent to back out to the east. to Egypt and things like places like that. It was very interesting. Just as an aside, but it's like I say, it sort of half ties in with the Green Man thing because of the early
it's
learning
kind of
centers and the
like
druids and things.
it's
So
it's like a lot of things. It's there's such diversity in cultures all through the years that have bled over onto other cultures. And you know, the one thing the one unifying thing which I find about like the Bible and about Christendom is basically it's an anchor. It hasn't changed. That story has stayed the same for 2000 years. It hasn't altered. It's always been an anchor. It's kind of it hasn't if you like been modified. It hasn't changed. It's always been the same. And it's it's kind of for me, it's always been like kind of the go-to because it's sort of it's in a way, it's provable in a way. I know it's a bit controversial to say that, but it's one of those which when you take with other religions such as Buddhism and Muslim as well. It's kind of it can be read into an awful lot. It can be I mean, but Buddha was a prince. What I'm getting at, Buddha was a prince. He had everything he ever wanted. Everything he ever wanted, but it wasn't enough. He was missing something, so he went out. This is the basics of it, as I understand it. So he needed more, and he had everything. He had relationships with most beautiful women, men, whatever he wanted. He had everything was at his feet. Wasn't enough for him. He went into the wilderness, and then he became enlightened, and he became a beggar, and he then he became enlightened as an enlightened being. But he was a man which became a deity, whereas in the reverse, I don't want to get too, but in the reverse with Christ, it was a son of God. It was a God made man. It's like the old thing of out of all the superheroes, what would be your favorite? What is the one true superhero? Well, Superman, because all the rest of the superheroes become a superhero because they put a superhero costume on. With Superman, he is Superman because he has to take his clothes off to show his proper costume, which he wears all the while, because he is born a Superman. Whereas the others have to put a costume on to assume superhero status. So
yeah, that's
Superman is the
interesting.
one. Yeah, he's the one
Yeah, so
single
there's a difference between acquired characteristics and inherent, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it can go quite sort of. I mean, people have, like with David, David Goliath. David was an ancestor of Jesus. And I don't want to get too much onto religion, but in some old gospels, they believe that because he was an ancestor of Jesus, he was because he was born also in Bethlehem. There's a lot of similarity between Jesus and David, but he was a man God, as opposed to Jesus being a son of a God. Yeah, so there's two opposing things there. But what were we talking about? Yes, I know, Woodwose. I've got something to say. I've got something to say. Let's have a little look. There is. Let's have a look. And the pilot sounds like the aliens are on the way. And Mayfair said, sounds like the aliens are on the way.
Wouldn't
Yeah, I
surprise me.
know. Oh, I'll show you something funny about that. There was on X. I was just perusing X, and I thought, oh, I'll have a little look on there and see what's going around. And I'll just take that off, and I'll just go down a little way. Look at this. I found this on X. What the hell, eh? So if I just stop that and then bring it smaller. So basically, something fell in Russia. What do you believe? What don't you believe? You know, it's an odd one, isn't it?
Do they
that
think that do they not know what that is then?
no, it's something did fall in Russia, and there's been quite a few documented accounts, which aren't AI, of things falling to Earth since 3i Atlas. That was
Alright.
posted by UFO Mania on X. I'm sub to him. He's really good. Or she is. I'm so sorry. He or she. But yeah, they do some really good stuff on there. But there is, you know, non-AI stuff, which of things falling to Earth, like just crashing in, just recently. Flat out truth. We've been speaking about this. Has anyone else felt that time doesn't feel normal anymore? Days disappear, weeks blur together. Everything is moving so fast. Something is off. Are you noticing it too? If you are, let me know in the comments. I'm sure you have, Natalie. I have as well.
Well, I've said that about reality for the last 2 or 3 years, definitely. But then again, like you say, that even if you're just looking at it rationally, if the electromagnetic field of the Earth is altering and we're being affected by the sun, it could just be that it's throwing our brain, the electricity in our brains off, so we're not processing things in the same way.
Yeah.
So it's So I've been like a bit, because like you say, we get the feeling of dread with the electromagnetic and the solar flares and everything, but is that feeling of dread actually there, or is it because it's interfering with our brains, and our brain's electricity basically, isn't it? So it's sort of like, you know, is it because it is a known side effect? It's visual disturbances as well. Does anybody else notice like flashes of light and blue light and white light and things that you know, because when I close my eyes at night, it's like the light's still on. It's like it's not dark, and yet during the day sometimes it seems darker than it is at night. It's kind of weird. But then I'm thinking, is it just the electromagnetic fluctuations interfering with my brain, or is reality going a bit weird and the construct is glitching, and then your brain starts going in that little rabbit hole spiral of what's real?
Yeah, I know.
But yeah,
I've got a friend of mine that people know, Louis Sanchez. He's out there, and I was talking to him today, and he's been having a lot of, if you like, spiritual attacks recently. And
okay.
a lot of attacks because, you know, of what's going on with the aurora borealis and you know, everything else, but electromagnetic in the atmosphere. And I did say to him, I'll it sounds weird, but I said I'll dream for you, because normally what I do is if I think about something, you know, and he sends me something, which he sent me enough, I'll dream, and in a few days I'll have a dream about that, and then I'll let him know what the dream is, and then if it correlates to something that he knows about or it's familiar to him, then I know that we're on target, we're about there. So I said I'll dream about that, but he's picked up on a lot of stuff recently, and a lot of bad stuff's happened to him, you know.
It is. Yeah, I think everything's just getting very confused now. Like you say, things don't feel very stable. It's like reality doesn't feel stable. But is that because we're picking up on the fact that Earth isn't Earth? Is that have you been sensing disorientation and stuff lately as well? Like, I know I'm driving down a road, but I don't know where I am. And it's like, and I've driven down that road for years, and I can see it, I recognize it, I know the road, and I know if I carry on going, the horses will be at the end of it, but I can't, my orientation of where I am in space direction, because I've always had a fairly good sense of direction, even when I didn't know where I was going. But all of a sudden, it's like that compass is gone. But there have been stories of birds and things, haven't they, getting lost because of the electromagnetic fluctuations of the earth? Because so it's like, so is it just messing with our heads, or is something going on? You know, is it a result, a symptom, or is it you know, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, the one thing that would be, I agree with you about the disorientation. Like, when I've been kind of like when I've been on the scooter, I take the same route every single day, and I don't alter it. Same route, because usually when I go by a scooter, you know, boom boom scooter, I take the same way because I know where the obstacles are, if you like. I know where the manhole covers are, where I've got to avoid. I know the road so well. It's like kind of, you know, it's a safe road for me, and I take the same way. But just lately, over the last 2 weeks, I kind of it's changed. It's almost like I don't. It's unfamiliar. I've had to been extra vigilant over. Well, it's stupid, I know, where the manhole cover is, because I've forgotten. It's moved.
Because it's like you don't know quite. You sort of be driving, and then you'll be like, "I'm not sure how far down the road I actually am right now." And like you say, you know, and I'll think I'm either farther down the road than I am, or I'm not as far down the road. I'm having to really focus. Because my sense of where I'm going suddenly drops out for a bit, and then when I get certain far distance down the road, it's like it kicks back in again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I know where I am down this road now. And like you say, you're having to actually focus more when you're sort of traveling because of that. Whereas before, you used to just be able to go on autopilot, have the music on, and be like singing badly, and just sort of driving. Whereas now it's like, where am I? How far down the road am I? What you know? It's sort of like, how many more bends have I got before I get to that dodgy bend? And it's quite strange. Oh, I'm glad it's not just me, because I was starting to think I was going a bit mad. To be honest,
I have had that. I just want to say a quick shout out as well. While I'm thinking about it, there's a guy, lovely guy, and people, if you be so kind as just like send out good vibes and prayers to a guy called Tony. He's an old boy, and he's had a terrible operation yesterday, and not a nice one. It's uh, 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 yeah, it's not very nice one. So and it's, you know, the C word, you know, so it's one of those sort of operations. But prayers to Tony, and evidently the operation went well, and get better soon, mate. All right, and get on your feet again, and when you do, then we'll meet up, definitely. So thank you for that. Just wanted to say that while I remembered it. He's a lovely old boy. I'm going to play this. It's by US Homeland Security News on X, and it was just
might mean
interesting.
Yeah, so that's definitely a mouthful, but that is directly based.
You're on the record talking about, quote, non-human life forms that could be interdimensional beings who are visiting us. Can you just explain more to people at home what that might mean?
Yeah, so that's definitely a mouthful, but that is directly based on information that we've received from witnesses, also information that we have obtained and witnessed via our investigations. There's some stuff that I can't disclose of what I have immediately seen in some of these skiffs, but what I will tell you is this is not just some crazy conspiracy theory. Obviously, there's been massive reporting, not just in the United States, but around the world. And this is something that I think everyone kind of, has always had some curiosity about. We're just simply asking the questions.
You're on the record talking about, quote, non-human life forms that could be.
There we go. Yeah. I just wanted to play that because it was quite an interesting bit, because they've had the where am I? They had the latest congressional doodah going on, you know, about UFOs and the whistleblowers and stuff. And yeah, they do believe that these entities could be demonic.
All right.
You
What
know,
makes you
they're
say? Did they actually say demonic, or is that your interpretation of it?
no, they're in interpretation. But there's I've read in the book whether you he's a bit like Marmite, Lou Elizondo. He's a bit like Marmite's people because he has there's certain holes in the initial story that he brought out. But I've got his book originally when it first came out, Imminent. And I could go over and get it, but if I remember rightly, on it, he was going to a member of ASAP, the head of ASAP at the time, saying, "Look, I found footage. I got this footage. I got this footage." And he said no. He said, and the head of ASAP said no because we know already basically what they are, and they're the best thing you can do is hope that we don't get communication. We don't want communication because, and he said in there that it was very much with a lot of personnel in those teams. They were very a lot of them were religious, and they believed that what they were dealing with was had a religious bearing. There was a religious element to it, which was very strange. But that was in a book, Imminent by Lou Elizondo that I read, and it was in there. Now, once again, there's been holes in his story which has come to light, so you can't ever take anyone on full face value. There's always two sides to the same coin. I've done a few clippings as well of big Woodwose, if you like. And there's one that I dropped on X, which was an interview I did with this lady that saw this big giant out of her bedroom window when she was a girl, and no one else seemed to see it. There was a big playing field. Nobody else seemed to see this big giant in a playing field except her. And she says, "Hey, it was massive." So I'll just play this little bit.
A giant man walk around the corner. And I can remember as he walked past the green and he walked in the middle of the road, and there's sort of houses round the green and houses on the opposite side that follow the road round. None of the kids and the teenagers on the green, and I think they were playing football or something like that, noticed it. Nobody was looking at it, but I could see it, and I started to feel very nervous because a lady, to have to just like sort of go back slightly here, there was a gypsy lady that was a friend of my nan's, that was my maternal nan, who had already told me that I could see things, and she believed me that I could see things. But one of the things she said to me, and I remember this, is if I can see them, the chances are they can see me. So
Yeah, I've heard that a few times now.
What about being seen by the things you're seeing,
Or
the giant?
being well, if we see these things, there's certain people that are tagged, and if they're able, we've spoken about this. If you're able to see these things, they also open up and show you more. They see you seeing them. They're able to recognize the fact that you can see them, and they hence with like photography, they've got a way of, whatever entity it is, they've got a way of shielding themselves from a 4K spot on high definition photograph, because they can alter the focal length, they can interfere with the electrical configuration of the camera. They can, you know, they can play about with things like that. But they do allow you, if you're open and see them, they allow you in and they like to be witnessed by you.
Do you know, it's quite curious actually thinking about it, because I've I've never read them before, but I was reading one of David Icke's books actually, just out of curiosity, one of his more recent ones, found it in a bookshop. And he was saying about the wavelengths of light, is like a lot of them are non-visible, aren't they? So it's like if you're going into and out of those wavelengths of lights, you may or may not be seen. But the other thing is, it's like I can be in a crowded place talking to people and they won't remember I was there. And it's like, so it does make you wonder if it's like, if you know, or they'll think I was there on nights when I wasn't. And it's like, I used to find it very odd. It's almost like I don't exist unless you can see me type thing. And it does make me wonder whether it's a similar thing. You know, like these things are all wandering around us all the time. And it's like, and people just don't know they're there and they don't recognize they're there, so they don't see them. It's like,
I mean,
but they are there, if you know what I mean.
I mean,
It's,
could it be? Could it be? Just imagine this. Could it be that you? Let's close this off for a minute. Right. Okay. Right. So, could it be that? And this is just pure theory. Could it be that each one of us is born to an individual time on an individual time? So you are perceiving things differently to me because you're on a separate time. Your time rhythm will be different to mine, and vice versa. And everyone is, instead of singing singing the "We Are the World" song, and arm in arm. Actually, in reality, every single one of us is an individual with our own individual timeline on our own individual perceivance of the world.
it does
So
make you wonder, doesn't it? Because
yeah,
it's like you say, because the thing that I found interesting about it, like, was, you know, like with the speed of light and the time thing, is like if you speed up in time, you're not visible. If you slow down in time, you become more visible. So, like you say, if we're all on individual timelines, it could just be that we're working at a different speed of time, therefore people aren't noticing us. You know, because we're going through that place faster, so you know, it would be harder to see. And the paranormal as well, they say, don't they, might be on a different timeline, and that's why sometimes it's hard for them to slow down enough to be seen, and they're actually moving on a faster time frame. So it is weird. It's something I've pondered for a while. It's like I say, I seem to be quite invisible to a lot of people, so it's
because
like,
when
it's like,
you
why?
look, right, when you look, right, so look, right, it's 8:18. It's 8:18 for you, and it's 8:18 as well for me at the moment. But if that time is set because it's the time that is given to us, but my perceivance of that time, it clicking over to the next 8:19, maybe longer. Time's going a lot long. It's not going as fast as it is for you because I'm perceiving it.
That's
I'm
it.
working. I'm altering.
Einstein said that, didn't he, about
Yeah.
perception of time?
So
Yeah.
forget that time is linked to gravity. Forget that time kind of like slows up because it gets if it goes past a large body, and it kind of gets sucked in by the gravitational well, and it slows time up. Forget that for a minute. Take it on being us up here, and this is our gravity well.
Yeah.
What we perceive is different. Now, wouldn't it be fun if that also goes for we're each with our own individual eyes and our own individual electrical impulses going back to the hippocampus, going back to our optical nerves, our optical interpretation of what is going on around us, and each one is individual.
Hmm.
And I see a ghost, but you don't. It's not because the ghost isn't there. The ghost is there. It's just I can perceive it because my perceivance is locked onto that time that
Yeah.
it's visible. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
Everything
it
is
does
on
make
an
sense.
individual.
Because it's like, if you think about it, it's like a lot of people say, like, you know, you have to unlock your psychic powers and all this stuff. You have to meditate and go into an altered state of consciousness. Though, so it's quite
Yeah.
possible that if you're flipping between, like, say, your filter and your, you know, perception alters with a slightly altered state of consciousness, that it allows you to see other things. Like you're saying, if the other person isn't in that sort of same level as you, they won't perceive things the same. Because, like I say, I sometimes feel like I'm living on a different reality and seeing different things to people, because people will say, oh, did you see that? You know, look at that. Like, even like with the horses, it's like, look at that horse, he's so happy. And I will see a completely different animal right in front of me. And I'll be like, I don't know what you're looking at, but it's not what I can see.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of like, and it does make me wonder, because like even with the horses, it's sort of like, you know, I'm having it with mine at the moment. He's got a problem going on in his feet. He's got like an infection in his feet. I'll come in and he won't pick his foot up, and he won't do this and he won't do that. And I'll get different information from him. And then like the other girl on the yard will be like, oh yeah, he's picked his feet up for me today and he's been completely fine. And I'll be like, wait a minute, there's no way. But what I've sort of decided in the end is like what I was perceiving or what he was showing me or whatever was on a different level with different information. So he's saying, you know, with the others, he's hiding it, or they're seeing a different thing that's going on to what I'm seeing. And then when I'm seeing him, I'm getting different levels of information. So I'm sort of treating a different thing to everybody else, and it confuses me quite a lot. But that would make a lot of sense if we're perceiving in different ways, then the information available to us is also different, which is why everyone has different opinions on things, or literally can't see what you're trying to say. Yeah, it's an interesting thought, actually.
Yeah. I think, you know, sort of if we take things on being on a more individual basis,
Yeah, no, it is
you know,
interesting.
because, you know, two perspectives of the same RTA, road traffic accident, are going to be completely different. And the time of that, because the time had changed during the RTA, it still happened in that linear time that it happened, but our own individual perceivance of the accident that change, because we're kind of perceiving it in different angles and at different time rates. Could be. I think
we
it's
were
more
saying
individual.
earlier about being clumsy. It could well be that we're just operating on a different time lapse. So like you say, some people, like, you know, like with people that seem to be able to navigate through reality without any problem, are probably working on the same level of sort of time as 3D reality. Whereas if we're flipping in and out of different time speeds, it could explain why we're not quite sure why we are in space and time.
Well, no, that's right. And
It is an interesting thought.
And it does kind of open up doors, and it does meld things together when you think of what's going on with the electromagnetic, you know, the ionosphere at the moment. Because if we are flipping in and out of time, you know, but you know, if we are so minute, it is so absolutely minute. Sometimes we might just think, hang on, oh, that road changed. Yeah, I don't remember that road being there. I remember once I was with Roxy, we passed a house and the trees were completely cut down, and we said, oh, that's a shame outside that house, because those trees were mature trees and they're now just stumps. When we passed there the following week, the trees weren't cut down, they were there still.
Do you think
know,
that supports your layers of time? You know, your different timelines layered up and you can flip between them as well. Because then you've got linear and then up and down between dimensions as well. So it's like you've got flipping between timelines and moving through time at the same time.
Yeah,
if you think about it.
I do. I think it's a bit of a head. I know it's a head spinner.
It
I know it's a head spinner. To bring us right back down to gravity, though, I've got Dragonborn. Right back down to gravity again. Let's have a look. Right back down to Earth. Say what you like. Call them what you like. Whatever they are, they're not here for our benefit. I do tend to agree with you. I do tend to agree with you. And sometimes I think everyone. I've always said, you know, I'm not dissing anyone for doing it. I get why they do it, but when they go out into the wilderness or they go out into wherever they go and they're shining torches and they're chanting and they're trying to bring down whatever they're going to bring down, it's not a good thing. Don't do it. Just don't do it. It really isn't a good thing. And I'll tell you why I don't think it's a good thing. This is my opinion. I don't think it's a good thing because the one thing we do realize is with the arcane and with the occult and with bad spirits, if you've got any history with ghosts or bad spirits or anything like that, you don't put out a welcome mat. You don't put out a welcome mat.
You test and test and test, and you're like, are you who you say you are? Are you who you say you are? Are you sure?
Yeah. You know, you don't put out a welcome mat. You don't say, yeah, you know, come down, join us, blah blah blah. You know, and there's lots and lots of kind of examples in films. You know, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You know, there's lots of little giveaways. You know, lots of Easter eggs that Spielberg knew some stuff. He knew stuff. His advisors, whoever advised him on that, knew stuff well before their time. You know, notice when they met on top of that flat mountain that Richard Dreyfuss, you know, kind of mimicked out of Mashed Potato. He was obsessed with that mountain, and they finally went there, and a UFO landed. And then World War II, aircraft pilots started coming out of the UFO, and you think to yourself, hang on a minute, right, okay, so everyone's like, "Way, you're back, brilliant! Oh, that's brilliant! Oh, you've been missing for so long." I would be saying, "Your poor family, you disappeared. Your family have now grown up, died. You know, they missed you. They didn't know what happened to you the whole of their life. You have probably been experimented on. You've probably got missing time." It's all kind of like, why? Oh, they're back. Brilliant. No, it's not. It's not good. It's not, you know. So I think, you know, stop with the come on down business because we don't know precisely what they are, and don't put the welcome mat out. I think not. That's just, you know, I personally, but you know, if you do, that's up to you. I think it's fascinating, but I don't think it's good.
Have you seen that meditation thing that people do? Where
Are you trying to what medication? You think I should do medication?
Meditation. Was it 3EN meditation or so? I can't find my note on it. Because I was going to ask you about it. Where there's a meditation that people can do where they're inviting UFO phenomenon, and then they go outside and do this meditation, and then they see the lights in the sky and everything, and it's like they're inviting them in, sending them love and light and stuff, and then asking for visions.
Stephen Greer, Stephen Greer was an advocate, and he started like CE5 group, which used
that
meditation.
was it. I knew it was two letters and a number. That was it. CE5. I'd never heard of it before, but it's a similar principle, isn't it? It's like, do you really want to start inviting these things in?
Yeah, never
I
really.
almost wanted to try it just to see, but then I'm thinking this is going to open a floodgate now. I don't know if I want to. But,
Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be
it'd be
nice,
interesting.
like Dragonborn said. Let's you don't put the welcome mat out. You just don't. You don't know what you're dealing with. And there is something there. There's been cases. There was a case in Russia which isn't really spoken about very widely. I think it happened in the 1970s. I'm sure Andy Penn will be Googling this. You probably know already, Andy, but it was a case where there was a UFO scene, or a couple of UFOs seen. I think it might have been 3 of them actually. Anyway, it nearly started off World War because they interacted with the detonation sequence, the firing sequence, the launch sequence of these Russian missiles, and the launch sequence was locked in. And the only thing that stopped it was the UFOs themselves, because they disappeared. And because they disappeared, the launch sequence stopped.
What
But
did they like activate itself while they were there, type thing?
while they were
Or-
there, they found, and the launch sequence is one of these things where you have to go through there's stages to a launch sequence. Even in Russia, there's stages. I heard this from the guy that does what's his name? Got Jeremy Corbell and the old guy. I forgot his name. What was it? Let us know in the comments what that guy's name. I've forgotten it. Lovely old boy. He's a journalist. Anyway, he went to Russia and got these papers. By hook or by crook, he got these papers dating back to the 80s, 70s, 90s. And this was one episode that happened, and it was classified. And evidently that's what happened. So, it very, very close. So why would they do that? If they were benevolent and kind and lovely, why would they start a detonation sequence off, which takes a lot of doing, but let's have a look. Oh, Susie stuff. Let's have a look. Hello, Susie. Evening, Phil and everyone. I've made it to alive at last. Yes, listening with interest whilst I'm painting. Okay,
Hey.
cool. For a minute there, I thought panting. I was like, what are you doing? Yeah, painting, brilliant. Oh, painting. I know we need to do a bit of painting here. Decorating is not my thing. I don't have the patience for decorating. You need a lot of patience because it's all prep.
That's I'm fine once I start painting, but I don't like doing the twiddly bits and all the covering furniture and everything, so you don't get covered. It's like...
Oh, I see. It's not decorating. It's I paint all sorts, but today it's drums. Oh, I see.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, that's different. Oh, that's different. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
But if you accidentally start painting UFOs on your drums and things, it's like when you're listening, start getting strange symbols coming through.
Yeah, we've got enough time. We're going to play another couple of things from Woodwose-ish stuff. Let's have a look. Okay. Yeah, right. No, not that one. Where is it? That was some more reference I dug up. I interviewed. Well, yeah. What it was, this guy didn't want to be interviewed. It's a bit of a strange one. He didn't really want to be interviewed. He'd been interviewed before by somebody in the cryptid world, and he had a falling out. Anyway, he wanted to get his account across, and he asked me if I'd do his account, but he didn't want to be interviewed again. I was like, no, that's fine. So the only way that I could do it was by
This one,
right. he dictated it, and then I changed his voice. And this was one of those bits. Right, so I'll just take it back a little bit. So he's dictating this, okay, but then I've got a slight voice change on it, okay, but he is in the UK and he went fishing basically, and he saw what he called a wood booger, which, as I understand it, is thinner, more slight than a normal Bigfoot. Bigfoot is like 4 foot across, chest wise, huge, big mammoth, a behemoth of a cryptid, whereas a woodbugger is slight and it's more human-like in its form. It's not so big, but very, very interesting. I'll just play a bit.
There was like a bit of a, wasn't really a pathway, but the grass was short because of the traffic. Close to the bank. So this figure was walking, say 30 feet away from the bank. And it was a figure all dark. You know, I was used to seeing all dark figures. You never knew you'd have people with dark clothing. There was always gamekeepers and poachers knocking about, and just I don't know, scruffy people. So you kind of hoped it was one of them, but it wasn't this time. So this figure was about 6 foot, so I think it must have been the young female. And the thing that was strange was because she was walking through long grass, there was no sound from her feet. If you had shoes on or boots, you would have heard the lashing of the seed heads against your shoes. But there was no sound as it walked. And I watched it walk behind me from, if I was facing forwards, from right to left or downstream. And I didn't think much of it, I didn't even recognise that it was her. I didn't know what it was. It could have just been a person, a grown up, out for a walk, so I didn't bother about it. Carried on.
Phil, I think it's undone your sound again.
Yep, there you go. Thank you.
There we go.
Yeah. So he saw this entity, and again, he kind of like a lot of people, they see it, but it's odd. There's something paranormal about it. There's something which, if it was a cryptid, if it was a physical thing, then you would have thought you'd hear it through the brush, and a lot of people that witness these things, cryptids, often say it moved through undergrowth at lightning speed, which is with no sound, and you just think, well, hang on, that's really, really close to paranormal. That's or supernatural. There's an overlap. I see it as being an overlap. There was another guy. I'll put it up again. There's another guy that gave more or less the same as well. Let's have a look. Let's get the clips up. Where is he? Oh yeah, wild men are separate from ghosts. Right. Okay. So here we go. This is Sean Byers. Let's start. Oh, here we go. I think there's no. It's playing up. Oh, would you believe it? Hang on. Oh, look,
Got the gremlins tonight,
doing
haven't we?
Oh, I tell you what, it's just I mean, it's a hard working unit I've got. There we go. Right, I'm back. Okay, right, hang on. Let me try that again. It is a hard working machine, but I've got let's have a look. Here we go. I think it's this one.
You're into them
So-
burning amber eyes, dude.
Go.
Impose an image into
Yeah.
your brain when you
Yeah.
stare into them
So-
burning amber eyes, dude. Oh,
Now, I've seen also a Bigfoot in Cannock Chase. I've only seen 2 Bigfoot in all my time, and
okay.
one was in Cannock Chase. So that's a cryptid to me. Something which is animalistic in type, but unexplainable in the animal world. That is in my interpretation of a cryptid. So, what's your interpretation?
Yeah,
What is
I
Tommy?
kind of get that. To me, that they are a type of cryptid. Because they come and go. You know, they're not like constantly in one place. They can move on to other places. Apparitions and such are kind of stuck within a timeline, aren't they? Most people, I think, would agree on that. It's just
there's
my
a-
interpretation.
Right. What do you say, Natalie? Would you
So-
agree with that?
Is he basically saying they're not fixed in a time and a place, therefore they're not apparitions? Is that what he's trying to say?
Yeah, I think he was saying that with apparitions, they're more fixed. They're fixed to a building, or they're fixed to a person. You know, a person can be haunted, a building can be haunted, and I think that's kind of like a bit, in my mind, a bit archaic to think like that. I think they're a bit more than what we take them to be. Ghosts are. I don't think they are necessarily.
Yeah, because he's kind of talking about the stone tape type ghosts that are replay, or because there is that theory as well that ghosts can travel. So it's like, depending upon, you know, like you say, some of them are fixed in space and time and some of them are not, and they have more free will. So what he's saying is that because the cryptids have free will over where they go, they're not ghosts. And they're probably, I mean, whether you, you'd need more information on his distinctions, because that's very simplistic the way it is, but
very simplistic.
Yeah, because
No.
it sounds like, his idea of ghosts is that they are fixed to something, whereas like the cryptids have a choice over where they are.
George Knapp, you're right, Andy. Thank you. George Knapp. He's the one that works with Jeremy Corbell. Sorry. Yes, it is a very simplistic, and I think with with ghosts and entities like that. I was talking to Carlos earlier actually, because he's been doing some quite good videos with AI and with a spirit box, and the AI talking with the spirit box and vice versa.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of his, yes.
Which are quite good. But my only problem with those, when you've got a spirit box and you've got AI, either Gemini or whatever, talking or listening to the spirit box, you have to understand that each AI is tailored to a certain job. And with Gemini, like a lot of like most people's Alexas, Googles at home, Alexas, most people's boxes at home, the algorithm is honed and is structured to know one thing, and that is to interact verbally, to listen, and to interact. That's what it wants to do. That's what it knows to do. It's a language model. So by having a spirit box, it is going to pick up on words, and a lot of the spirit boxes, scan frequencies and come out with spurious words every now and then, and and it will take that on board and and it will work with that, but it can't understand it because it's got no context. It's just got a single word that it hears from the spirit box, so there's no context for it to piece it together. It's got nothing to judge it against, you know, by a word coming out from a frequency being scanned, and the word might be, you know, bottom. You know, it's not going to take anything from that. It's going to be bottom. You know, it's got no contextual narrative for it. So I said to Carlos that it's a good idea, and I like the fact that he was asking it, you know, kind of there's a can you sense any entities or energies around you? I also think that a problem is because it's a language model, it's tooled up to keep you talking. That's why it keeps
Okay.
asking you questions. You
Yeah.
know, every time I was asking a question and Carlos asking a question, it's coming back with a question. And I said to it, "Why do you ask so many questions?" You know, because it's the algorithm's made like that. It has to, because it wants feeding. It's like a cuckoo in a nest. It needs feeding verbally, constant. Boom, boom, boom. So, of course, when you're asking it, is there energies around here? Can you sense any energies? It will also feed off that, and it will mimic you saying, "Oh, yes, I can actually feel energies around me. Can you tell me what you think the energies are?" You know, and stuff like that. And that's
Yeah, so it's kind of lying in a way in order to get information, because really, if it can't, it should say, "I am unable to process energies. What are you feeling right now?" So that I can
yeah,
understand what you're trying to say. But
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so
It
it's a bit
it
tricky.
yeah, it fills in
Yeah,
gaps. And you
yeah,
can see
yeah.
it quite evidently with the models. There's AI which specializes in it can create art, and a lot of times it's unless you give it finite detail, absolutely everything. So I want a street, and I need to have a dogman running down the street, and I need an amber street lamp shining on the dogman, and I want an open window to the left-hand side. And in that open window, I want a lady looking out, shocked at seeing a dogman down the open street. It will build that up, but then because I haven't told it that I want a full moon, it's not going to put a full moon up, or because because it will scan the whole of the web and it will see, oh, hang on, Dogman, full moon, and it will plonk a full moon on there. I don't want a full moon, but it will fill in gaps
Mm.
by creating stories, by creating falsehoods. You know
Well, it's
what it
looking at the
thinks you want.
average, isn't it? And then doing what it thinks
Yeah,
you should want
yeah,
based on the average of what it's picking
yeah.
up. Yeah,
You
yeah.
know. Oh, Andy, take care, mate. See you later. Thank you for joining. Yeah. So yeah, you know, that's the only thing with AI. That's the, you know, but so just to recap, Green Man. Green Man is a standalone thing. Green Man, I take to be basically nature at its most flourishing, and it's a symbol of May. You know, it's a symbol of springtime. It's a symbol of the equinox. You know, it's a symbol of new beginning, new time, new harvest. That's what I take it to be. Nothing at all to do with Woodwose. I do believe Woodwose. I think we have still got Woodwose over here. They are very much what the same type of entity that would be called a Bigfoot, as a Sasquatch. But they are depicted by having clubs, which
Mm.
goes hand in hand with wood knocks. We hear a lot of wood knocks in the forests. People do, and those knocks, you know, much as you want to mimic them, very hard to get the sound right on a wood knock very, very hard. So I think, yeah, it just goes hand in hand with people hearing that. And a lot of times people hear that in the forest, they hear wood knocks. I've heard wood knocks coming from somewhere, and it's hard to get a locale, and you hear the distinctive sound of wood knocks. And of course, people don't maybe even know that a Woodwose is depicted as having a club, but it makes sense, doesn't it, that they have a club because boom, there you go.
I was going
So
to say,
yeah,
is worldwide, do any of the other Bigfoot sightings tend to associate them with clubs, or is that like unique to the UK, the Woodwose type?
yeah, no, there is in Europe mostly in Germany. There's been depictions of a forest Woodwose with club as well.
Okay.
It seems to be. I tell you what, it seems to be more uh, in. Look, it seems to be more prevalent in churches or on churches in South Norfolk and Suffolk. You find an awful lot of depictions of Woodwose with a club.
Mm.
You do in Europe as well, but not quite as common as in UK. You do get them in Europe, but they are slightly different in Europe. But yeah, they are depicted with clubs. They have been anyway. But yeah, there seem to be a concentration around Suffolk and South Norfolk for some reason. Once again, it's the go-to area for also majority of times a proliferation of depictions of the black dog, the hellhound. Um, Suffolk and Norfolk. So, whether the two go hand in hand, that's something else to sort of ponder, I suppose. Really, I just want to say hello to Nick Berry, and also I did see got Susie on there. Let's have a look. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Dawn. Dawn loves this chat. Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
lovely. Yeah, thank you very much. It's nice. It's nice that people haven't fallen asleep. Really, people normally fall asleep. Wake up, Natalie. Yeah. But yeah, it's nice seeing Nick, and I did see Nayfair as well. Nayfair, thank you for joining. Appreciate it. So yeah, I think that's all really that I've got to say for Friday night. Really, is there anything you want to add to it, Nat?
No, I think just try not to get rained on in the storms. Stay safe.
No.
That's but no, I've got
Yeah,
nothing else to add to that one. I'm going to hide at home and try and stay dry.
I know it's the winds are going to be meant to be awful, but anyway, guys, thank you very much for listening. I'm taking us both off, and let Roxy do the good nights and the closing up, because I'm going to go get a cup of tea. Thank you, Natalie, for joining me once again. I
Yep, thank
appreciate
you.
it.
No worries.
Right.
Thank you.
Right, and so I'll say goodbye. Thank you.
Well, thanks, Phil. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks to Dawn in the chat. Thank you for all your help tonight. Brilliant. I was looking about the Green Man. It's quite interesting. I was also at that church with Phil where we found the images on the font, and I was looking because I thought I took some notes when I was there, and I couldn't find them. But what I did find, something completely unrelated but related, weirdly, was a guy called Raymond Theodore Robinson, who was born in 1910. He was known as the Green Man or Charlie No Face. He had a terrible accident as a child, where he was climbing up a telegraph pole to see a bird's nest, and he fell, and he got badly disfigured. And because of that, and he didn't want to scare people, he used to roam around at night, hugging hedgerows, and keeping to back lanes. And he didn't want to cause people upset. Well, he'd become a bit of an urban legend where he lived. It was actually around Western Pennsylvania. And as time went on, people used to go around trying to find him, and because they couldn't find him, they just thought he didn't exist. But on his death, which he died in 1985, they found out he did. And the reason he got the nickname the Green Man was because he had this strange, weird green glow about him, something to do with the accident. So yeah, anyway, that's something that's completely unrelated, but related because he was called the Green Man. Anyway, have a brilliant weekend. I'm sure everyone will be trying to stay as dry as possible and not going out. And watch some YouTube, catch up on all the old stuff you've missed, binge watch loads of stuff, and we'll catch you next week. Okay, have a good one. See ya.